Sarab Shada grew up a Christian in Baghdad, living in the midst of war and violence. She came to the United States through the Iraqi Student Project and is now a senior at Loyola University in Chicago. Sarab is here today to share her journey with us and her hopes for the future for herself and her country. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So you came to the United States through the Iraqi Student Project.
Yes.
What is that?
Iraqi Student Project was founded by an American couple in 2007. And they basically just, their hope was to help young Iraqis who were stuck in Damascus or other parts of Syria, who weren't able to go to school in Damascus or go back home. They saw a lot of potential in them, and kind of to provide safe haven for them, they wanted to contact American universities and colleges and see if they can offer them full tuition or full scholarships. And it was successful for several years. And it had to stop in the fifth year, after the fifth year, because of the situation in Damascus. The center of the program was in Damascus, and it required the students to go and live there for a year. And at some point, they had to leave because they feared for their lives there.
Okay, Damascus was not safe.
Yeah, no.
How did you get connected with this program?
My older sister, Sama, was a student in ISP, and she learned about it through a friend of hers who found it online, just, I think, searching for scholarships. And after her friend found it, she encouraged her to apply. And I was in my senior year that year, and I kind of wanted to do the same thing.
Okay.
I wanted to apply to scholarships as well and study abroad. So as soon as I finished my senior year, I applied to the program. And they had already heard about me through my sister, and I went and had an interview, and everything worked out after that.
Here you are.
Yes.
What a huge change, though. What was it like to leave your family from Iraq?
Well, I left my family before, when I was a junior in high school, through an international program. It was an exchange program, but really no one is going back there. So it was an international program called the YES program, Youth Exchange and Study. And it was through an organization called East. I was in upstate New York for 10 months during my junior year. So that was the first time I left my family. And it was bittersweet. My family was happy for me to get that opportunity, and they thought that, you know, the 10 months would go by so fast, and they did. And they were very open to this idea that I would study abroad for a year. They were excited for me to see what kind of life there is out there, and you know, I guess be somewhere else that's safe for a while. Right. So that was the first time I left. And when I left for ISP, I lived for 1 year in Damascus. So it was a total, actually, so far it's been 4 years, even though I'm in my senior year now. And at first, you know, parents have mixed feelings about things like that.
I'm sure.
And they had mixed feelings about it for my sister as well. But, you know, after being stable in Damascus and living there for a while and going through the program, they understood the weight of this opportunity and how much it would mean to us, to me and my sister, and they became very supportive of it. And they still are. They miss us a lot, but they know that this is what we wanted. So.
And now that you are here, tell us about the support from Loyola, but also from other faith communities in Chicago.
The support from Loyola has been amazing. I really consider myself a very lucky student with the Iraqi Student Project, mainly because of my support group. I was received by them when I got here in the airport, my first day, and welcomed into my host family's house, who are an integral part of my support group. My host family, Chris and Bren Murphy, lived in Evanston. Both of them worked on campus at Loyola.
Okay.
And that's how they learned about the program, through other people working on it in their church. So I lived with them for 2 years, and then I moved out and lived on campus. So I was welcomed into their home right away, and my support group always sought to, you know, meet with me from time to time, you know, see what kinds of things I need, if I required any kind of emotional support and financial support. And that has been the most important part for me, that they don't just meet with me and talk about money. When we meet from time to time, we have, you know, relationship between us, and I babysit some of their kids sometimes, and I really feel like I was welcomed into their families right away.
So it's a relationship rather than just practical support.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've really been fortunate, because I don't know, maybe like other groups have different dynamics, but mine, I really think is the best.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Now, are they affiliated with any faith group in Chicago?
They are. My host family and the head of my support group, Patrick Eccles, both go to St. Nick's in Evanston.
Okay.
It's a church in Evanston, and that's how they learned about the program, both of them. And also Chris and Sarah, who's one of the biggest supporters of the program, and she's donated a lot of her time and her efforts to participate in fundraisers, and she's now part of my support group. She also is affiliated with the Wellington Church because she's the choir director there.
Now, for you personally, as a Christian growing up in Iraq, what was that like?
The war started when I was 10 years old. So before that, I didn't really have much of a concept about my religion. I didn't think of my religion as, didn't reflect on it, I guess, as in a complex way, the way I do right now. But we were always a minority in Iraq. We never questioned if our friends were Sunnis or Shia. It didn't matter to us at all. We were all, children. We were all from Iraq. We didn't care about these things at all.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Yeah, but I think a lot of people assumed that there was always this tension, and maybe there was with certain people, but we certainly didn't grow up under that kind of influence. And even with my family, we never associated only with Christians or associated only with certain groups, based on their religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, coming here to a very different environment, how has your faith changed, grown?
I think after the Iraq War, there were two extremes for Iraqis. Either you completely lose faith in humanity, in everything, because of everything that happens to you on a daily basis. Every time you want to restore your faith, something else happens and your faith is shattered again. And I think the other extreme is that it builds up even more hope for you because you think, I'm alive. I'm still alive throughout this whole thing. There must be something greater for me to do, or there must be something else that I can do, either to bring attention to this, bring awareness to this. You feel like you can use yourself as an instrument to build something.
Okay.
And I think I've reached that other extreme at some point and went through that, loss of faith, loss of hope, and a lot of Iraqis do. They deal with most things related to war through humor now. We joke about everything. People are surprised. People joke about explosions. People joke about war. People joke about ISIS. Everything, yeah. And my friends tell me about that now. I mean, they're there and they go to college there. So a lot of people are surprised to hear that, but that's our coping mechanism. There's no other way. Like, if you take it very seriously, your life will stop because you're not going to be able to process, what happens to you every day. So I did go through that. I also, lost people in the war, and I think that's one of the reasons that influences people's faith throughout the war. When you lose someone, you kind of feel like, what's the point?
Right.
But what restored my faith was, I think, coming here and seeing how curious people are and how much they want to know, and being part of Voices with Chris and Sarah. And
what is Voices?
Voices is a band in Chicago. They're politically active. They've been a band, I want to say, I think for 30 years.
Okay.
And they participate in a lot of community fundraisers in Chicago. And I've been invited to join them several times for a lot of events. So I think that also restored my faith, using something that I have, which is my voice, to bring awareness to people. Singing a song like Imagine that is already emotional for a lot of people, and hearing it from someone who's from Iraq, who believes those same things, and songs like that reach everyone in the world.
I'm sure a lot of tears are shed.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me, I have trouble watching the news these days. What about your family? What is it like to sit here and hear reports ISIS is on the rise?
It definitely is something that scares me a lot. My family is in the safer part. They live in a region called Ankawa in Erbil, which is the north of Iraq. Erbil is the capital of Kurdistan.
All right.
And they're in the safer part right now, but there were several times where we heard rumors that, ISIS might enter there. And my family has a plan B, trying to, save money to see, just in case anything should happen, they might leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I am thankful for the hope that you bring and the cultural awareness you bring to us here in Chicago. I'm Polly Toner for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.
Imagine there's no heaven. Easy if you try. No hell below us. lonely sky. Imagine all the people